and Dreidels. It depends on what order you want to read it in. And we're going to get started here right off the bat with some amazing drink recipes with one of our incredible bartenders extraordinaire in our congregation, the judge of bartenders, Judge Andrew Kaufman. So, Andy, take it away.
Thank you, Alon. And welcome everyone to Andrew's Bar, also known as the pub. Now you might think that this is a fake background behind me, but it's not. Every glass, every bottle is real, and the bottles are actually filled with alcohol, not colored water. So you can have just about every drink you can think of here. So you might be wondering how it could be that somebody would be crazy enough to have this kind of a bar in their house. And I will tell you that it's all Cantor Alon Davidson's fault. Shortly after I retired, he called me up and he said, Andrew, I have a Groupon at a bartending school. Would you be interested in joining us? So I, of course, said yes. And as I recall, the other students were Kail and Elliot Schwartz and Linda Belzer and my son. And it was a 40-hour course, including learning how to make 200 drinks. And there is even a written exam, which all of us were able to pass. And as a result, I decided, since I had a bartending certificate, that wasn't going to be any good unless I had a bar to go with it. So a friend of mine and I built this. And just to illustrate for you how crazy I am, who else do you know that has one of these? There's different kinds of vodka, of course. Tonight we're going to use Tito's. This is not on the menu, but it is a gin and tonic.
A gin and tonic or a vodka tonic, Andy?
That's right. Hell, I've already had one.
What kind of alcohol's in that?
That is Tito's handmade vodka. All right. So tonight we're going to start with.
Which is the first ingredient in a tequila sunrise.
That's right. That was the one exam question I got wrong. And I'll never live that down. I know that.
That is very,
all right.
But only because we love you.
Drinks that are relatively simple to make. Bunky and I talked about this. I hope that you're not terribly disappointed. We decided, since so many of you were going to be working along with us, that we would not require you to buy a whole bunch of different ingredients, many of which you probably would never use again. So the first few drinks we're going to make are vodka and different fruit juices. First of these is something that I'm sure you've heard of before, and this is a screwdriver. Now, this is a jigger. I'm not going to use the jigger tonight. I tend to use 1 ounce shot glasses, and I'm used to using those, so that's what I'm going to do. All right. So in the screwdriver, we put in 1 ounce of vodka. We put in a bunch of orange juice. Now we stir it up a little bit. And this is drink number 1. You can also make it in a much larger glass if that's your inclination. And if you want to put a little Galliano in it, then it becomes a Harvey Wallbanger. It's also possible to make a similar drink with grapefruit juice instead of orange juice. But those of us that are on Lipitor can't have that. Since I don't really like grapefruit juice, it's never been much of a sacrifice for me. Next, we're going to make what's called a Cape Cod. Also starts with 1 ounce of vodka. The rest is cranberry juice. And we stir a little bit. It's nice and mixed.
I like it with a piece of lime.
Okay, Gordon?
I like it with a slice of lime in there.
You got it.
Perfect.
Andy, aren't you going to be tasting it to make sure it's good?
Well, I worked on Cape Cod, and that was one of the, when I was just turned the age to drink. So that was one of our big drinks.
Otherwise, it's just a vodka cranberry. You need to have the lime.
So the next drink we're going to make is the Bay Breeze. Again, 1 ounce of vodka. And we're going to put in 2 ounces of cranberry juice. And then we're going to put in 2 ounces of orange juice. No, that's not right. We're making the madras instead. I know the recipe that was sent out said it has 3 ounces of cranberry juice and 1 ounce of orange juice, but in bartending school, we learned it was to be half equal parts. So far, so good.
Well, Andy, aren't you going to drink some of that so we know that it's good?
All right.
Oh, that was too easy.
Oh, he's going for the vodka tonic.
No, he's going down the line. This is good. Okay.
So peer pressure.
And you have to name them as you're drinking them.
Ever.
Good stuff.
I'm having flashbacks to my fraternity.
Chug it, chug it,
Oh, God.
chug it.
Beer.
Terrible group here. Some of them. The rest of you are wonderful.
Well, he's still standing, so
Yeah, but you can't make any more drinks.
we don't know that yet.
All right. So now we're going to
It's
do
going to get stronger and better.
and
Can't find anything now.
this is half cranberry juice, half pineapple juice, but again, starting with 1 ounce of vodka. Ounce of cranberry juice, 2 ounces of cranberry juice. And a couple ounces of pineapple juice. I am starting to get a little lightheaded, I'll tell you that.
Uh,
L'chaim to you.
All right. Any questions about the last 4 drinks?
What if you mix them all together? What do you get?
you get the spit bucket in
Why
the
don't you try it?
glass.
You get a hangover.
Bunky, any comments?
How about a vodka martini?
Ooh.
Well, actually, what we're going to make next is a special variation on a cosmopolitan. And this is the Rabbi Cassi. I hope you all have the ingredients for that because that's really going to be a taste treat.
What time does the bar close, Andy?
2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, this is my first cranberry on vodka.
Really?
Yeah, I never did this before. I like it.
That's the first one tonight?
First one ever.
Wow.
I never drank vodka, but I have some, so now I'm drinking it tonight.
Never had any vodka before?
If that was what was in the orange juice and vodka, like the screwdriver, I used to have it, but it's been a long time.
Well, there you go. That wasn't a screwdriver.
Okay. Let's move
All
Love
on.
right,
them all.
on to the Cassipolitan.
Yes.
Okay. Cassipolitan.
Changing up the vodka for this. I'm going to use citron vodka. I'm using Absolute, but of course there's plenty of other kinds. And make this in a cocktail shape. So the first thing we're going to do is going to put in 2 ounces of citron vodka. We're going to put in an ounce of triple sec. I'm going to put in an ounce of cranberry juice. I'm going to put in an ounce of from the Cassis.
Yummy.
What does that taste like, Andy?
Tastes kind of like blackberry. Now, usually,
Rabbi, have you tried this drink?
yes, I have. Now, usually when you're making a cosmopolitan, at least when I'm making a regular cosmopolitan, I put in Rose's lime juice. But Bucky and I did some taste testing, and we concluded that that would make this drink too sweet. So instead, we're putting in just fresh lime juice, 1 ounce.
I see Rabbi's drinking already.
Okay. So everyone ready?
Do it.
Jennifer has an interesting looking bottle. What is that?
All right.
This is infused vodka, infused spirits. So it's all, they put all of their actual stuff in the bottle. So this is the citron vodka I'm using tonight.
Cool.
Sounds delicious.
It's really good stuff.
That's what I'm using tonight.
Infused.
All right. So who else is ready to try a Cassi Politan? I'll speak at once.
Oh, Rabbi's got one.
All right, L'chaim.
L'chaim.
I am indeed.
Chaim.
Good stuff.
I think that needs to be a staple on all of our temple parties.
Absolutely.
No, citron. Oh, sorry.
Yes. So what time we got here?
You got 10 more minutes, so you're totally welcome, or you can say that you're done.
Keep drinking.
That's fine too.
All right. Now, for extra credit, we're going to make the famous Rabbi David S. Lieb Orange Martini.
Yum.
We're going to use orange vodka, of which there's various kinds, but various brands, I should say, but we're going to use Kettle One tonight. There's many fewer ingredients in this one. But again, we're going to start with ice. And it's 5 ounces of orange flavored vodka and 1 part of orange liqueur. I'm going to use tonight Cointreau, although we can also use triple sec and Marnier. You won't be having more than one of these per time you drive, that's for sure.
I'll tell you about the rest of the evening.
Just remember, you have to be able to read the letters on your dreidel still. Just
The judge bartender, sir, Tom wants to start telling you his problems.
Also, remember, we're on Facebook.
Exactly.
Oh, whoops.
That's the first problem.
I don't think Andy would be very judgmental.
Oh, brach.
That's not Tom. Natasha has problems.
Yeah. No, and we figured in bartender school, they there was a psychological component in counseling, right? For your
The customer is always right.
Yes. All right.
Until they're not. And then you cut them off.
Especially when they're wrong.
Exactly. Oops.
You know, what's weird is Cosmopolitan isn't in Mr. Boston's. At least the version I have, anyway.
No, it's very true. The Cosmo is not in there.
Weird.
By the way, Matt Broder, if you want to know how to tip the bartender, just make a donation to Temple Bethel in his honor. There you go. Also, I just want to remind people while Andy is about to say L'chaim and drink his other drink, I want to remind people that if you are not signed up yet for the Dreidel tournament tonight, which is going to be starting in about 25 minutes, it is not too late. You can text in the chat to Shoni Gramco, and she will be happy to manage that for you and get you into one of the rooms. Again, the ways to play tonight are $18 for an individual, $36 for a family, or $180 to be in the sponsor room. I highly recommend that you get into any of those rooms if you're on here and have not already signed up. And to Andy, we want to say a huge thank you for teaching us tonight, and most of all, a huge l'chaim, because you are definitely the host with the most. So thank you so much, Andy. L'chaim to you.
L'chaim.
L'chaim, thank you.
L'chaim.
Fantastic. Oh, guess what? I've been sitting here watching so long, I forgot to grab my guitar.
We're going to get started with some Hanukkah songs and lighting our Hanukkah in just a second. So while the cantor is getting his guitar, if you want to get out your Hanukkah to get ready, by all means.
All right. Wrong thing. All right. Oh, Shoni, I'm going to transfer host over to you, and please make me a co-host right away so I can share my screen. I'm assuming you're hearing me, Shoni. But
Trying to hit the unmute with my finger on my computer screen doesn't work.
that's a good point sometimes. All righty, Shoni, here you go. You are now the host. Please make me a co-host so I can share my screen.
As soon as I find where you dropped down to on the list. There
Yeah,
you
that
are.
happens. Thank you, Sean.
No problem.
All right, so here we are, folks. Let's do a little singing. It's all about Dreidel tonight, so here we go. This is the Dreidel Sing-Along. flame in the temple, it burned bright. 8 days and 8 nights. Nesgadol Hayasham. Everybody join the dreidel sing-along. Flame in the temple, it burned bright. 8 days and 8 nights. Nesgadol Hayasham. Everybody join the dreidel sing-along. Spin that dreidel round and round. See what letter shows when it hits the ground. It may be Gimel, maybe Shin. You may take it all or you may put in. The flame in the temple is burned bright. 8 days and 8 nights. Let's gadol hayasham. Everybody join the dreidel sing-along. Dreidel is a game for young and old, and through its letters the story is told. If you spin a hay, if you spin a nun, play the dreidel game, it's lots of fun. The flame in the temple is burned bright. 8 days and 8 nights. Nesgadol hayasham. Everybody join the dreidel sing-along. The flame in the temple is burned bright. 8 days and 8 nights. Nesgadol hayasham. Everybody join the dreidel sing-along. Hanukkah Sameach. I'm going to pass it over to Rabbi Kail now for a little Sevivon.
All right, we're going to sing a cappella.
Ooh, I like it.
And there was a request to unmute and sing along. I'm worried that would be a cacophony of insanity, especially since we've all had drinks already. But let's sing at the top of our lungs in our homes.
Absolutely.
Sivivon sov sov sov, Hanukkah hu chag tov, Hanukkah hu chag tov, Sivivon sov sov sov, Chag simcha hulam, Nes gadol hayasham, Nes gadol hayasham, Chag simcha hulam.
All right.
First, we have our dreidel theme tonight because we're going to be playing dreidel in just a little while.
And so, of course, Rabbi and I are going to go back and forth a little bit with some dreidel song. I have a little dreidel. I made it out of clay. And when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. Oh, dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. Now, by the way, if you want to put into the chat something that you might want to make your dreidel out of, Rabbi and I might do our best to help you with that. But that's kind of putting us on the spot. But yeah, you know. So, Rabbi, you got a verse for us? Ah, you're muted, and it's not unmuting.
No, it was not. I had a whole list of them, and they all disappeared on me just now. So, we have bricks. Wow, that's not an easy one.
We got gold, too.
Okay. Oh, I have so many.
So do the one you want to do.
They're just not in front of me, and I've already had a drink. Okay. Oh, dreidel, 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 I made it out of ice. I put it in my pocket. It melted. That's not nice.
Oh, nice. I like that. I have a little dreidel. I made it out of gold. I played it all these years now. I'm a really, really old. Oh, my goodness. Dreidel made out of vodka.
Whoa.
I have a little dreidel. I made it out of vodka. And when it is all stirred up, I'll eat it with a latke.
There you go. All right, what do we got here?
Oh, we've got pizza and glass and Legos. Who said glass? Bonnie Leopold. Mac and cheese. That's a good one too. And bricks, of course. Oh, she meant Maccabees.
Well, there's your rhyme right there.
Don't you love it? I have a little dreidel made it out of mac and cheese. And when it is all sizzling, I'll eat it with the Maccabees. There you go. So
Tell the story of the Maccabees.
It was actually I made it on my.
what is it? Go ahead. Wait, did you get muted? If that was Tommy, I would never mute you. I have a little dreidel. I made it out of pens. And then I took some paper and drew a lot of hens. There you go. You got another one, Rabbi?
Oh, let's see. Trying to look at the ones that are here.
No.
Did you have one you wanted to share? Keep muting and unmuting. We'd love to hear it.
Okay. What? Oh, sorry. They keep disappearing. Sorry.
It's a drive-by dreidel.
It was actually I had a little dreidel. I made it out of mac and cheese, and when I go to spin it, I think of Maccabees.
I love it.
That's a good one.
Tommy, I like that one.
Dodger tickets. That's a good one right there.
My dreidel spun by Dodgers, and tickets I will have if I win the sweepstakes. Now I don't know what to rhyme with have. If I win tonight, those tickets I will have. That was bad. Never mind. I failed. I failed miserably. Rabbi, maybe it's time for us to light the Hanukkah.
It might be.
I love it.
So as we come up with more verses that we can put in the chat, we can take out our handy dandy Hanukkahot.
Ooh, I love those candles.
They're pretty cool.
Those are super cool.
And now they're all falling out of my Hanukkah.
Of course.
So we're going to make them secure before I start a fire along with my drink over here. Tal, you want to help me? Do you want to help me light the candles?
I want to make my tea,
Ah.
By the way, some people may be curious to know this because, you know, we've got this other big holiday that comes up in the spring called Pesach. And we might stay away from vodka at Pesach because usually it's made out of grains. But Tito's vodka is actually kosher for Pesach. Just letting you know.
There's a few different ones that are.
Yeah, there's quite a few potato vodkas.
Yeah, there's a lot more potato ones coming out these days.
And did you try infusing the vodka with horseradish as was recommended on a long ago email from the Federation?
No.
We have.
It's amazing. I should bring you the one that's been in my freezer for like a year. It's
Oh
great.
my gosh, Randy, I would love to try it.
So
I will bring it by.
to be continued during Pesach. There we go.
Exactly.
We have something else to look forward to. Let us light our shamash as we prepare to light our very last candles of Hanukkah. Tonight, we have the privilege of lighting all 9 of them, our 8 days, and of course, our shamash. And I invite you to join with me in singing the prayer. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Sha'asa nisim lavoteinu, mayamim ha'im ba'azman hazeh.
מאסור ישועתי, לך נאה לשבח, תיכון בית תפילתי, ושם תודה נזבח, לעת תכין מטבח, מצור המנבח, אז אגמור בשיר מזמור, חנוכת המזבח, אז אגמור בשיר מזמור, חנוכת המזבח. And I'm switching us to gallery view so we can all see each other. Rock of ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amid the raging flows were our sheltering tower. Furious they assailed us, but your arm availed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us. All right, Chanukah Sameach, everybody. Chag Urim Sameach. And I'm going to hand things back to Rabbi Kail for a few words of introduction, and then I'll introduce the game tonight.
All right. So first of all, I just want to give a huge, huge thank you to Andy Kaufman for everything he did earlier, along with Bunky, who I know helped with all the mixology. And there are so many people who have worked hard to put this evening together. First and foremost, I want to thank Gail Birch for everything she did to envision this, to work on it, along with her tireless committee. I love the rounds of applause going on over there. Beautiful. I love it. And Linda Herman for all of her help, Doris, who has worked so hard with everyone in the open tent and everything that she's done. Really, there are so many people who are present tonight and so many people who are not present who contributed to make this program possible. So I just want to thank you. And Shoni, who's here somewhere, doing all the behind the scenes work right now. Thank you so much for all of your work as well. The list certainly goes on and on and on, and we're grateful for every one of you. But tonight I was asked, before we played the game of Dreidel, to talk a little bit about the history of the Dreidel game. So I'm going to pose a question to you. Why do you think we play Dreidel? Anyone have a guess or anyone know? Ethan over there. Yeah, Ethan, why do we play Dreidel?
Because the Jews played Dreidel when the Greek guards passed by because they didn't want them to see them reading Torah.
Awesome. So we're often told the reason is that when Jews were studying Torah, since the Greeks didn't allow that to take place, they would play Dreidel and just pretend that they were playing a game. Oh, I'm not studying Torah. I'm just playing a little game over here. What's the big deal? Right? Anyone have any other understandings of why we play the Dreidel game? Or a guess?
To simply remember that a great miracle happened.
Right. So the letters on the Dreidel, Nun, Gimel, Hey, Shin, could spell out Nes Gadol Haya Sham, a great miracle happened there, except in Israel where it's Nes Gadol Haya Po, which means a great miracle happened here, right? So we learned that that's one of the reasons that we play this game of Dreidel. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret tonight. Both of these reasons that we've been given, and there actually are a couple of others. Well, actually, let me give one other reason, then I'll tell you what I'm about to tell you. There's another idea of the Nun Gimel Hey Shin, which is that each of the letters stands for one of the enemies who tried to destroy us. The Nun for Nebuchadnezzar and from Babylon, the Hey for Haman of Persia, the Gimel for Gog or Greece, and the Shin for Seir or Rome. That's one of the other traditions there. And this game, of course, has been a really popular game for some time. But as it turns out, all of these things that we have been taught all our lives, while they are part of Jewish tradition, are not the origin of the game of Dreidel. It turns out that the Dreidel game actually comes from an English game called Totem in the 15th, 16th century. And it was in Germany as well. And in fact, the letters, the letters Nun, Gimel, He, Shin, actually come from the Yiddish based on the German game, that there had been a game of spinning a little top, and each of the sides had something on it to represent nothing, all, half, or put something in. And it comes from the Yiddish of nichts, ganz, halb, and stin. I'm sorry if my Yiddish is terrible and that doesn't actually sound like the correct words, but those are the words that it connects with. And so these Hebrew letters became ways that Jews took this German and English name and brought it into Jewish tradition. That's the origin of Dreidel. And there is a little bit of an irony there, because the holiday of Hanukkah is about a group of people who were assimilating into Greek culture and a group of people who were fighting to maintain Jewish culture. And here on Hanukkah, we play a game using an assimilated game that we brought into our tradition. So there is a little bit of irony there, but there's also a lot of beauty there, because even in the things that we borrow, even in the things that we are able to kind of learn from our friends of all different areas, we can find great meaning in. And the Dreidel game today is something that we all look forward to every Hanukkah. And I'm sure tonight we will have a chance to really have a great time as a community doing that.
Awesome. Thank you, Rabbi. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know about that last part of the lesson. That's incredible. So how are we going to play Dreidel tonight? Well, everybody needs to have a Dreidel. I hope you all have a Dreidel. Every one of you. And in a moment, when we are ready, we're going to ask Shoni to whisk us away into our individual rooms, where we're going to be playing Dreidel until about 7:45 or so, maybe a little bit longer, okay, because it's about 7:15 right now. So about 7:45, 7:50. Remember that each room gets a prize. So there will be a prize for each room, and we'll talk about that when we come back together. Now, it's really important that when we do come back together, that we know who was the top scorer, who was the winner from your room, and we know who is the lowest scorer from your room. Very important that we know both of those pieces of information. And we're going to go through and ask for that information from every single room so that we can award a prize to the top scorer. And we've got something exciting and special for the lowest scorer as well that we'll tell you more about later. Okay, so don't worry. Just because you didn't get the luck of the spin doesn't mean you're out of luck. Okay, because here at Temple Bethel, we believe that even if your spinner is a little broken, that you should still have a little bit of luck in your life potentially. Okay, now, so how do you play Dreidel? Well, it's going to be really simple. Every single room actually has a scorekeeper. That scorekeeper, that person that's been assigned to be the scorekeeper, is going to open up a scoring computer program that was created for this event specifically. And they're going to put your names into that scoring program. So give them time to do that before you start getting all utsy about the fact, I want to play. Don't get so utsy. Let them get your names into the scoring program first. Then you're going to start taking turns spinning, and you're going to share with the scorekeeper and the rest of the group what you spun. So for instance, here's my hay right there that I just spun, okay? And you're going to share it with them, and the scorekeeper is going to put it into the scoring. It's going to keep rotating because it's all electronic. So we took all the guesswork away from you guys. We made it all computerized so that everything happens very easily. And it's going to keep on going. Now, here's what I'm going to ask of our scorekeepers. If somebody completely runs out of credits, which I can't imagine it happening because we're giving everybody 200 credits to start with. If somebody completely runs out of credits, write down who the winner is of that game and who is the least, who got the least in that game, and maybe start another game. Just because that way nobody's just sitting out not being able to play. That would be silly. All right. Shoni, are you ready for everybody to get whisked away?
All right, so I'm ready. I'm going to whisk people away. If you don't get whisked away, either it may mean that I didn't get you assigned to a room correctly, or that I didn't get your sign up for the tournament, which I can take after this. So I'm going to hit the magic button and cross your fingers I do it right, and everyone gets whisked to the rooms who I've got registered.
Yay. Fantastic, Shoni. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to Shoni for getting all of this set up and ready and researching new stuff in technology as well with Zoom. That's going to make this all happen very seamlessly, we hope. And again, if you still want to play and you don't get whisked away, then let Shoni know. She's going to be here waiting to talk to you and make sure. And if you just want to hang out with each other for a little bit, do that too. That's totally okay. So with that, we're going to whisk you all away to your rooms. If you are the scorekeeper, please make sure that you open up the program for scorekeeping. And if you need any support with that or help with that, you can also send a text either to Shoni or to myself.
I haven't looked at the scorekeeping program.
Sorry?
I haven't looked at the scorekeeping program.
Oh, okay. Then you can probably send a text to me and hopefully I'll be able to help you through it. But that's kind of scary too. Hopefully we've all got a scorekeeper in our room who's got it going. So good luck, everyone, and have a lot of fun. That's the most important thing.
Here we go.
Here we go. Please click the join buttons when you see them.